Hello, hello. How are you? Happy February. Cannot believe it's already the second month of the year and it feels like it's moving, it's cruising. How was your January? If you are new to me, my name is Dawn L. and I am a soul and business mentor, an oracle channel, and one of my favorite things to do is tune in at the beginning of the month and just get a feel for the energy and what's going to be transpiring. And of course, this is just a guide. You can take it. Hey, Christina, you can take it. It's for myself actually from the energy and the cards I pull. And I just, I'm tuning in for the collective, but for you, maybe you just like kind of make it like a general note of maybe how a certain week is going to stand out for you so that you're staying in the right energy for yourself. And it doesn't mean right or wrong, but just knowing how, like if there's something that's happening, maybe you can, kind of look at your notes and remember. So I'm going to pull a card for the first week of, for every single week. And it just starts with Monday's energy. And then I am going to pull a card for February. So we have about just four weeks. It's a quick month in February. It's already feeling like I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling like it's like quick out of the gate already. Like the energy is going to be almost, it feels like a little fast and furious. So I'm going to start off right away with the card for February. So let me just tune into that and just start to get a feel. Okay. So for the month of February, I got the Partnerships and Alliances card. So I'm going to just write this down really quick, and then I'm going to share. So to me, this is all about getting in. To me, this is so much about your frequency and the tribe and the people that you want to surround yourself with. There's been an influx and a lot of shifts with who our people are, who we resonate with. And I feel like this month we're going to get, and you think about Aquarius and all the planets, moving and shifting into Aquarius. And Aquarius is really, it's innovative. It's the future. Who are you aligning with that is going to help you with who you're becoming and where you're going in the future? What are the partnerships? What are the, who are the allies that can support you? Because it feels like this month you're going to have the opportunity to step into new beginnings through collaborations, through new ways of doing things, through trusting in, and it feels like these are very spiritual connections. It doesn't just feel like, obviously they can be business, whatever, but when I say spiritual, it means aligned with your higher self, like who you're becoming. And one of the things I'm seeing is noticing how you communicate in your friendships and your partnerships. And they're showing me that, and just so you guys know, I channel source, but I am getting a little bit of galactic energy, as I do with these every month for some reason. And I only channel beings that believe in unconditional love, FYI. But they're showing me around the communication piece. If you can't speak your authentic truth, if you feel very reserved still in your throat chakra, and what I mean by that is like you notice your throat tightens when you're talking to people or you're in your friendships, because what we've had happen, like especially last year and moving into this year, is so much change in who we are. We've been under construction. The throat chakra, the way we express ourselves, the way we communicate has literally been shifting so much. So if you feel like you can't be in your authentic truth when you're communicating with somebody, I want you to like notice that and pay attention, because that is telling you that maybe there's a part of you that's still kind of hanging out in the past. And this month is feels very visionary to me. It's very much about like the relationships that you want to foster and cultivate for the future. Being willing to let go of the partnerships and alliances that, maybe are kind of holding you back, or maybe you're just not going to spend as much time in them. Hi, Rachel. So it feels like this is a month that you may have new beginnings when it comes to like business stuff. Like you may be starting a new project or putting something out to the world, through your service. It feels very much like there might be some new partnerships, even with money. I'm, still getting this feeling when it comes to money, especially for the month of February. There's going to be a lot of fluctuations overall. So it's about being flexible and really partnering with money, like seeing it, as an ally as well, like not ignoring money. Like, how do you want to use your money? And most importantly, there may be some, like I said, some new relationships, new people coming into your life, or a spark of something new brewing. Like they just showed me, it was really cool. It was almost wood in your, not that I've ever really done that, but you're rubbing the sticks together, and it like kindles a spark, and then that spark becomes something new. So I want you to look out for the sparks this month of, and that's a frequency recognition. That's like a soul frequency recognition when you're around somebody and you're like, I feel. So just notice the new beginnings, and especially through the way that you're showing up, the way that you're willing to take ownership and accountability for who you are thus far. And it feels very much like this is the time to choose from our heart. In the past, when, I don't know, like this is the way I want to say it. Sometimes we choose from the ego, sometimes we choose from the heart. When we're choosing from the ego, it's about playing safe. It's about keeping us, in a certain, we kind of do things a little bit based on the past anyways when we're in the ego. What I want you to imagine is you're ascending to higher heights within the way that you express yourself and how you are going to move through the world. And so you really want that everything that you do when it comes to all these areas that I've mentioned to really be heart-centered and heart-focused, because it feels very much like the things and the projects that we do, like let's say with money, if you're just coming at it as like, I just want to make all this money, and there's nothing wrong with money. I love money. Or I'm just going to take this job because it's safe and it's going to keep me like a roof over my head. Now, I'm not saying that that's not okay, but I'm saying if there's an opportunity for you to leap or move into something that is more heart-centered and aligned, this is the month to really start looking at that and to ask yourself the question, like, who are my people that can help me bring these energies forward and more into my life? Who are the people that are carrying the spark of the vision of where I, can see myself going? And I want you to really align with those people. Find your tribe, because now more than ever, we have to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves in the energy of who, brings out that beauty from our hearts and makes us feel good. Hey, Aubrey. So that's the first card for February. Okay. So this week, let's dive into this week. And just so you know, for this week, I'm just looking to see, we are in Mercury retrograde. We're officially, Mercury retrograde is not a bad thing. It does rule communication. And that being said, since I was seeing a lot of communication stuff, it is a time to slow down and to be in your body and notice what comes up when you want to communicate. I actually just got this sense. It's so interesting. If you think about like actions, like the way, sometimes we're just like moving through life and we're just talking or just going and there feels like there's this Mercury retrograde, there's such a pause. And I want you to see that pause as, because I've spoken in the past about this, and this is what I've been seeing over the last, couple months, is like we've been going through such a cellular upgrade, upping our light quotient. And now the pause, especially with our throat chakra and, receiving, I think Mercury too is like those lightning downloads. In order to stabilize all that energy, we do need to pause and slow down. So that's what I'm also receiving around this retrograde, which is going to go for until about the 20th. Okay. Okay. And today's a big day too, because we have a lot of, and we have, let's see, Venus, Mercury, the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn are all in Aquarius. God, that's a lot of energy. Hey, Chris, what's up, girl? How are you? So if you guys are just joining, I'm doing the Soulcast. I'm tuning into the first week of February to see what we have going on. So we got the emotional loss card. And sometimes that could feel, is it 222? Yay. Oh, 222. Wait, what did you say? I'm like, is it 222? No. But okay, for this, oh, 222. I see what you're saying. Sorry, Rachel. That took me a second. You're right. It is 22. Duh. Um, you know, we're still going through so many changes. I was actually just before I came on here today, sitting and I was meditating, and I stopped long enough to feel. That's right. I could feel there's a lot of frenetic energy today. Myself, and I felt way underneath all of the frenetic. When I tuned in, it was grief. And, I think part of what's really happening right now, especially this week, is there's such an opportunity to heal. Whatever the shifts are, whatever the changes have been in your life, we're all going through something on some level, right? Whether it's like a big doing or a small doing, however you want to see it. And whether it's, if we are focusing on friendships and, our collaborations and our people and our business and all that, you may find there's something that you have to let go to step into the new. Like that's something that I was actually thinking about today because am I going in and out, Rachel? Oh, that's weird. I hope the internet's not bad. But the thing that I was thinking about is when we're stepping into the new, we're letting go of some identity, some way that we've been behaving. And I actually was just thinking right before this, I'm getting ready to like step into some launch stuff for my business. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be willing to let go of a business model that I was doing before so I can step into this newer business model. And it's just all these changes are taking place. And I could feel myself tightening up a little bit. I could feel my ego going, oh my God, are you sure you want to do that? Because everything's like so safe and it's like so comfortable. And there's a part of me that's like, but I want to grow. I want to shift. I want to evolve. And my future self is calling to me and saying, come on. But in that, I have to let go of the places I'm playing small. I have to let go of maybe the comfort zone. And I'm also letting go of like old memories and ways of being that, comfort me. And so when you see a card like this, a 5 card, we are in a 5-year. Fives is all about change. It's taking a risk. It's not allowing yourself to stay in the same. When I get this card for this week, it's like, what are you willing to give up and walk away from? Be it a limiting belief, be it playing small like that would allow you to step into the bigness of your being, your true connection, the emanation of the divine that you really, truly. This week requires quiet time. That's how I even, I started with saying that because when I was feeling into this, as soon as I saw this card, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I was just experiencing like that grieving. And it's not a bad grieving. I mean, is any grieving bad? I can't believe I just said that. I had to catch myself. No grieving is bad. We are meant to grieve. And I want to tell you guys a really quick story. My little 7-year-old daughter, hi Artemisa. Yeah, no more stagnant energy. We are letting go big time. My little daughter said something to me last night, and she had a bout of anger. She was mad at her little sister. And she's like, Mommy, I don't want to be angry. And I feel so bad. And I get these, I feel like I want to hit my sister, which is, it's kind of cute, right? And I was like, where did you get this thought that you're not supposed to be angry? And she's like, well, and she had this little explanation. And I had to say to her, I'm like, we are supposed to feel things. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. Why, as adults, we've gone through so much programming of like growing up and like keep your chin up, be happy, put on a happy face, focus on the positive, but feel too. Be willing to move through the that is a signal to you. Now, don't be forever and suffer. Like I, told my daughter, I said, be angry and then challenge, correct. And then also how like before you get so built up, like learn how to express yourself on the way to the anger so that maybe you don't have to have this big blow up with your sister. And the same advice I give to my 7-year-old, I could give to myself or any adult, right? Because we keep things hold, we contract, because we don't feel safe. And so this week is going to call is calling and inviting you. It's like this invitation. I could see this like golden like cord, this thread that's saying, trust yourself, create that safety in your heart, have that refuge. And those big things that you're dealing with, make sure, and I always say this, but make sure you're surrendering. That's the other thing is like anything that you're afraid to let go of, always pray for divine right action. Divine, show me what is the right action in this situation, so I know how to move forward, even more so than I'm already doing now. And you would be surprised the miracles and the things that transpire when we are willing to co-create with the divine. So I love this energy because it's very much, connected to divine redirection. So those places that are going to be pulled from you, or those places that don't feel like they're working, or if you catch yourself in a sticky spot where you're like, I really want to grow. I'm moving towards this, but I'm really feeling very triggered by like the growth that's I'm being asked to do, or this leap of faith, or this risk I'm about to take. If you feel that, right, like be with that, because there is that energy right now of like, I'm moving forward, but I'm still a little bit still in the past. I'm in the middle. I can taste both sides. And ask yourself, what is that around? What's that trigger around? What is the thing that I can let go of? What are those beliefs that are still tying me to the past? Because this card wants you to move forward. This card wants you to process. It wants you to feel, and it wants you to be able to move forward so you can embrace. Because you can't bring in new energy if you're still like deeply embracing, the past and its hold on you. So it's almost like, imagine like you're doing a dance with life. And if you're dancing and you're holding that old bitter story, or that whole belief, like I'm not good enough to do this, or who am I, whatever your story is, whatever that thing is that's ruminating in your head, or whatever big fear you have right now in your reality, I want you to imagine you're dancing like worst dance partner of your life. It's stepping on your feet. And even though it's stepping on your feet, you still are like, oh my God, I'm still going to try and figure out how to dance with it. Like, no, excuse yourself and be done with that story. Let it go and go dance with somebody that thrills you and like dance with your future. Dance with something that you don't really know the dance moves, but you're willing to like listen to your body and flow and move with things. Okay. That's the analogy Spirit is giving me for this. Okay. So that's kind of fun, huh? Let's dance with the future in some new ways. So that's the first week. And now I'm going to do the 8th. And the 8th, that week we have, on the 11th, we have our new moon in Aquarius. So that'll be happening. So we're going to be like attuning with the element of air. We're going to be having to really adapt, let freshness, let new vitality, let the future come to you, because Aquarius is the future. Okay, what wants to come through for the 8th? No frickin' way. I swear to God, you guys, I just literally shuffled the whole deck again, and I got this card again. So we're going to be in it for a couple of weeks. But let me tune in, because I want to see if there's a different energy. Oh, so this week is interesting. I mean, it's the same card, but there's a little bit of a different energy coming in, because the first one was the things that are in your life that are, then they showed me for the week of the 8th, There's a red energy. So when I see red, to me, that's all like root chakra. It's the material world. And so what I'm feeling for this one is the cellular imprinting. Okay. So you may, Aubrey, it's the emotional loss card. So what I want you to think about for the week of the 8th, with it being a back-to-back, this is a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to clear, you guys. Like, it's not gonna like be all sad or anything like that. There's really good things happening in here, because as you're releasing, like I said, you're making room for the future, and that's like the whole thing with the dance. But the second piece of this is the physical body. Really feeling detox energy. So some of you may be called to detox, okay? Especially your gut. I don't know why they're giving me such specific instructions, but they're saying it's really important to flush out the physical body. Like if you've been suffering, if you've had gut issues, digestion issues, anything, like they're saying it's really important that you're flushing out all the toxins in your body. So you may just want to do a light cleanse that week. Light with your foods, like lots of water, all that kind of stuff. Because they're saying all the emotional stuff and all the things that you're let go of that, the week of the 1st, this week, I should say. Then the next week, it's really going to be like the physical part you're letting go of. You're going to be releasing a lot. I'm also feeling for some, not everybody, for some, might be a material shift. It doesn't feel like it's going to happen to everybody, but it just feels like you may have your emotions become clear this week, your feelings around things and letting go. And then the following week, there may be some like choice point that you're going to make where it might be like, okay, now that I've figured this piece out and how it's holding me back, now I'm going to embrace this. I'm going to make a decision. It feels very much like the heart, some decisions and to go forward. And so you might see some change in your external reality because you have done the work to shift things. So for some of you, it could be, I love detoxing too. For some of you, it could be like you decide to take a job. It could be that you decide to enter that new relationship. And I know that sounds weird because we're like going, well, we're kind of letting go of things. But this is the deeper meaning of it, is that you finally have had enough letting go and enough of being in the old energy of that loss, and you're like, it's time for me to move forward. It's time for me to do something about this. It's, if you've ever heard that saying, burn the boats, it's time to just like embrace and be like, yes, I'm going to do this because I'm choosing to honor my heart. I'm choosing to not stay in the loss, but to honor that piece and then to like bring in something new. So it feels like there's a very physical manifestation, representation that comes into play. And the other thing I'm feeling, sorry, my energy is, I could just feel, because they keep showing me the whole cavity between the solar plexus, the heart, and the throat. And so I'm really feeling like there's like a cleanup crew. This is a spiritual, from an energetic perspective, is they want to rewire your nervous system so that if you can hold yourself during this time and feel, like if you're holding yourself through the loss and the feelings, then what they're telling me is you're going to rewire your neural pathways. Like you're going to help yourself in so many ways to have that inner resiliency and that strength for moving through things faster, not having to sit in the loss and the change. Because they're saying these 2 weeks, this first and second week, are really like kind of like setting you up for success, for like being able to move through a year that is going to be chaotic and tumultuous at times, as is every year. We never know exactly what's going to happen. But the vagus nerve, if you guys are familiar with the vagus nerve, my like what I'm seeing is there's going to be a healing with that, and I think they started working on that a little bit last month, but this month is like there's really a deeper healing where you can be more embodied. You can feel more safe within your physical body because of all the work that you're doing these 2 weeks. So that's really amazing. And I would, if I were you, because there's a new moon that week, I would work with the air element when you're meditating and grounding and all that kind of stuff. And detox wise, I don't have any specific recommendations on that because everybody has such a different way of doing it. But that's kind of up to your discretion. I literally detoxed for like an entire year. And you could look at it very simplistically. I'm going to say it like this. Like, what if for you detoxing is like, I'm not drinking for that whole week. I'm going to not drink and I'm going to really meditate and tune in and feel what I'm feeling and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be like an actual, like, supplement or something that you take. Maybe you detox from social media. Maybe that's your week that, you're like, I'm in Mercury retrograde. I want to go really deeply internal and I want to like really tune into what's happening within me and what I'm constructing for my future. So I want you to think of it from that. So ask yourself when it comes to that second, to the week of the 8th, divine, what does detoxing look like for me specifically in order for me to connect to my highest self, even more so than I'm already doing now? And I want you to, if you're really like, truly, feeling it, then, which I encourage you, the answer that comes through in your, through your intuition or your meditation, take heed of it. Do that. Okay. So, Rochelle, no worries. Okay. So the week of the 15th, let's hope we don't get the same damn card. Oh my God. You're fasting and you're cleaning. That's the other thing, you guys. God, I didn't even think about this, but now that I swear I get triggered when I see people, not triggered in a bad way, but it triggers more stuff. You're fasting and cleansing your apps and digital stuff. Yeah. And the other thing, since I saw red energy, clean and detox your home and your space, because that's just as important as the physical vessel too. So make sure you're detoxing and getting rid of. One of the things I was thinking about is like, I have all these old pictures and I have old journals and all these things. And I'm kind of like, do I really need, like some of them I like to keep, but like, do I really need all of this stuff? So really being willing to let go of the past. Diane, I love that you have an appointment with a nutritionist. That's amazing. That is so, so, so important. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 15th. I've gotten this card a lot too. I feel like, right? The crown chakra card. Okay. So when we get something like this, this is not so much like, oh, do this or do that. But when I receive it, what I do feel like is if you've heeded the letting go, the 15th that week, you're going to find that wow. I see your frequency quickening. I see your pineal and pituitary gland like really like being on point, which means you'll be able to receive your intuition. This feels like a week of rapid manifestation. I just have to write that down. What do you want to see happen in your life? If you were to lay down the blueprints, oh my gosh, this just reminded me of this meditation I had. Okay, this is like part of it. Oh my God, this was so cool. So I was meditating on Saturday. I do hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And my chiropractor has these lights that you put on and it like triggers your brain and in a good way, right? It's like UV light therapy, I believe it's called. Coolest visions. So I work with this, sometimes I have this galactic connection. He looks like a lion. He's got the face of a lion, but he's like, walks like a human, whatever. And he was telling me, he was talking to me about manifesting and all this kind of stuff. And we were just, and I got this vision, and it was kind of like this big piece of blank paper. And then he, was showing me, what visual AR, visual reality is. I think that's what it's called, or I can't remember, but you put the thing on and then you're like, you can see, you're like in that artificial reality. I don't know. I think that's what it's called. Well, he was saying the more that you can like be in the energy, which we know this with manifesting, but like the more that you can like visualize and like imagine that like you're there, you can taste it, you can feel it, like you're living that life, the faster that you're going to be able to call it in. And it was like, he showed me like, okay, you have this, like you're looking and you're in that reality. And then all of a sudden you open your eyes and like that blank piece of paper, like all the blueprints are on it. So that means that your physical body receives the blueprints. That was like the message that I received. And so it was like, make sure, Dawn, that you're like spending time creating in the quantum field versus creating in matter, like in this timeline, because I could, I'm going to build this up this way and do all these things. Yes, we have to do those things. But this is a week where you're partnering with the divine and you're co-creating and you're visioning out. And things are really going to feel like it's a lot easier to like push things forward. I see like, it's almost like snap my fingers, like things are coming, like you'll be like, oh my God, there's all these signs and synchronicities that I'm on path. Things are happening. I can taste my future. And so I want you to spend extra time the week of the 15th, like really meditating, getting a clear idea of what it is that you want to create, and imagine like as if there's like that place that exists in a specific future timeline where you're already living that life, and you go hang out, maybe 10 minutes a day at least, and you're in the energy and you're allowing your heart to swell with gratitude. And then imagine like with, when you come back to like reality, you have a journal in front of you, and just write out like, what is it that I need to do? Like, what is the divine directive that would allow me to receive this reality now? And just write down and jot down any notes, because this is going to be a powerful week for manifestation. So if you've been kind of wanting, this, since I was telling you, this is a new beginnings month, right? There's different cool things that are happening, then this is the week that things start to really like pick up pace and start to go. So I'm excited for that. Virtual reality. Thank you. Reality. Christina, love you. And so I really, 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 really want you that week of the 15th and, to tune in and start to feel like, okay, yeah, what are those things? But it was so amazing because part of my meditation that day was realizing like you could build your whole life in the quantum field. And if you could believe that it's like, so you have to take out, maybe that's why these first 2 weeks, you really got to take out the limiting beliefs that we have around it. Like the timelines. Linear time. Oh, it's going to take me all these months to do this. Oh, I'm going to have to like all the stories. If you could take the linear timeline out of it and just focus on it's already mine, it's already there, and notice the sticky spots within your energy field that tell you like you can't, and be with those and meditate and kind of move them out energetically, I think you're going to be really surprised and shocked how fast your life can move forward this specific week. Okay. Because this is you and the divine, like totally creating. Okay. So last week, the 22nd, and this is where the week that, the 20th Mercury moves direct. So we're out of that, and so of the Mercury retrograde, and we have a full moon on the 26th. So we have that going on. So that's a big energy week too. Okay, so let's see. How am I doing time-wise? Okay, good. So we have the last week, we have the shadow card. So the shadow card, this card, let me just write it down. I'm just getting the energy of a triangle for some reason. It's so interesting because there feels like there's a battle between our conscious mind and the unconscious, the things that want to come to light, the things behind the scenes that we can't always see. This card is not a negative, but it definitely feels like, I don't know, I keep getting the energy of a triangle. And so there's a little bit of, you know, there's a little bit of surrender this week that I'm feeling into. There's a little bit of trusting the bigger picture. Realizing not everything that you think is, it's so confusing, but it's like basically what they're saying is like, not everything is what you think this week. And so you have to be willing to be grounded. And, you know, it's interesting because there's moons in this card, right? You see like a big moon, there's the moon and then there's the sun, and we have a full moon. And, you know, what does the full moon do? It illuminates everything. So if you start off this week feeling like, oh, I just don't know, or I don't see the big picture here, I'm not understanding all of this, like, what does this all mean? You know, sit with it and be okay with it and just know that everything's going to be revealed. Like, you'll understand things as the week progresses. And it feels like there's a little chaos to this week. I feel like there might be a little bit of anger and agitation this week. And I don't know, it feels like maybe in your personal life, you know, all of your own personal lives, there might be a little bit of like the changes and the shifts that are happening over the month might be, there might be some new element that's illuminated this week that might be a little bit challenging. And you may feel at odds, or there may be a little bit of agitation. And if you've done the work earlier in the month, like this is asking, you will navigate this with ease. You will understand that everything is happening in divine timing, that there's nothing to be afraid of, that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And that although there a little bit of like, it just feels like sandpaper, you know, like sometimes if you know, I always like, I'm a kinetic person. So when I think of like sandpaper, like, ugh, you know, on my skin, it kind of is like, but it's just like, there's just a little bit of that like tension, you know, just a little bit of tension. But Forrest, I just saw that you said, full moon on your birthday. You know, is your birthday on the 26th or the 27th? Because it's on the 26th, I think, in the America that the full moon is. My daughter's birthday is the 27th. So Pisces energy. So just know that there'll be more. So I'm asking, like, what more to be revealed in what way? Well, if you've started new collaborations, if you've done new things, if you've shifted and all of that, you may just have more information. You may see. Also, you have to think of the shadow card as like our own shadows, the ways that we get triggered, the ways that when we step up to be who we are fully meant to be, because, you know, this month is all about that. It's like stepping into the new and doing different things. And that's beautiful energy, hands down. But there might be a piece of it where we're like that sandpaper feel like, oh, this is really, you know, like you're going to right path, and then you're going to go into a little bit of like, but I'm a little triggered too. Like, how do I keep moving through this? How do I trust that I'm doing the right things when I'm opening myself up to so much more? This week feels very much about soul evolution. Like you're going for it in some way. You're trusting the path, but it's not fully illuminated yet until like it comes towards the end of the week and you're going to be like, oh, I kind of have a better understanding of why things are difficult, or why this dynamic between me and somebody else is a little bit difficult and challenging. So this is the week to really stay in your lane. Really stay in your lane. because it feels like as Mercury's coming out of retrograde, like there's still a little bit of a shadow phase, and communication, could be still a little bit haggard. You start a new job that week, Aubrey, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that there's just a lot that's, energetically happening, and you might, that triggering, like maybe you're like, I don't know if you're feeling this or Aubrey, but it's like, oh, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. I'm doing something new, but oh, I'm feeling nervous too inside. Can I do this? Is this, so just trust that you're on the right path. Like wherever you're going, just know that the full moon is going to illuminate and help shine light on things. And the beautiful thing about the shadow card, remember, is you're always moving from darkness to light, darkness to light. Okay. So when we pull that thing, that trigger, that thing that, that sandpaper tension feeling into, instead of ignoring it, and we like bring it into the fold, and we're like, okay, let me hang out with this, whether it's coming from the external world or it's something we're just feeling inside because we're feeling some sort of pressure. When you sit with it, right? Because that's what we've been doing earlier in the month. If you've been on listening to this the whole time, and releasing and clearing out our energy bodies, clearing out our physical bodies, so we can have an ability to move fluidly through all the energy and take and transmute that thing that maybe feels heavy, that maybe like 6 months ago or 3 months ago, that might have felt really hard to move through. And now we're like, you know what? I got what it takes. And I'm trusting. And the divine showed me the week of the 15th, like how much good is happening in my life. Like I am on my path, even though there's tension and trigger. I know I'm moving towards the right things. I know that I have everything in me to feel solid and grounded, because it just feels like there's a little bit of disruption that week. It's like, it just feels like there's like go whitewater rafting. Start to get a little bit more dangerous, if you will, because the rapids, get kind of pick up speed. It almost feels like it's you. They're saying so clear. This is what Spirit's message us. You chose to go on these rapids, by the way. You chose it. You wanted to. You're like, I'm accelerating. I'm choosing this. I'm excited. I'm doing this. But there's a part of you that's like, whoa, like I got to balance all this now. And it's like you're trying to, kind of use your row and going as fast as you can to make sure that you're not hitting the rock. Like you see the obstacle, you see it very clearly. It's starting to get illuminated on your path, and you're like, okay, I could go. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to use my physical body. I'm going to move through this. I'm going to move past the challenge, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to stay fluid in the water. And I'm going to like feel like a fucking champion when I get to the end, where like all of a sudden it just like the water, like everything opens up, and everything, it's like it's smoother. And it's like you have this feeling, like I get this like really interesting feeling in my body of almost like a rush. You might have a situation where your adrenaline, like using all your skills and all your, spiritual tools that you've gained over the years. And you're like, I can do this. I can do this. I can take this situation where I don't know exactly what's going on, or it's triggering all my shadows, and I can bring it to the light, and I can alchemize it, and it can come back to center. So whatever your rapids are in your life, maybe for some of you, you're not going to have a big rapid, a little tiny like blip on the radar, but we never know, right? Take it with a grain of salt. But whatever that is for you, just know that if you are devoted and diligent with your energy, you're going to handle it so beautifully, and you're going to come to another level of like sustainability, they're saying. So I always think of transformation. It's one thing to have a transformation. You go to like a weekend, let's say, and you get all jazzed up at a retreat or something. You do all these things and you're so high on life, and you're like, oh my God, it's like that happens a lot with medicine ceremonies, right? People come back, they've had all these epiphanies. But the hard part about transformation, or no, I should say the challenging, is that you don't know how to integrate it with your day-to-day life. It doesn't become sustainable. So this thing that you're going through the rapids with, because you've been doing the work all month and because you're in the energy of it, it becomes a new higher level of sustainability for you, which I just love that, because it's like you have empowered. You're more empowered by that full moon, and you'll be able to handle whatever comes your way, right? We have that connection with Source, and Source is always protecting and helping us move to be the highest version of ourselves. So that is the message for the month, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing that, and as much as I enjoyed receiving it. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and let me know if, as the month is, progressing. I just thought of this, pop into this live and just like put a comment of like, oh yeah, this happened to me. I often have people reach out to me and message me and say, oh my gosh, I was listening to the report and this wound up happening that week that you said. So it's kind of fun sometimes to just see how it works in, people's individual lives. But anyways, many blessings to you guys. It was fun to connect. Have a beautiful February, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you in here later this week.